Happy Wednesday.
I swear, I'm going to do the Alexa slide one day to that.
You know the start. You know where you got the countdown going. It sound. I wonder, was it that sounds really a lot like a song by the Police.
I have no earthly idea. All I know is that that's what's on it. It's on the countdown video.
I like that countdown music. It's very peaceful.
Yeah, exactly. You're sitting there. Except it doesn't count really
very serene
all the way down.
So I need to change it out with the alarm and the Metallica, right? Is that what we need to go to next?
Oh, absolutely.
Something.
We're going to get dinged. Let's get dinged really hard. Let's go straight Metallica.
Well, why not? Why not? No, just kidding.
So it is another windy day across the South.
Yeah.
And well, also the North too. Michigan's getting hammered, man. Indiana's getting hammered. Yeah.
Hey, it's March.
They had another tornado. I would call it a little outbreak in Illinois today. It's been awful. It's awful.
That's no fun.
Well, it is that time of the year.
Yeah, and what's really bad though,
it is.
This what sucks about it is the fact that we got all this wind, all this stuff means I cannot get out on the lake and fish. That really makes me angry. Okay. I don't get along with people very well if I can't go fishing. All right. It's my outlet, shall we say.
Well, not only that.
Well, Randy, you got the next best thing though. We get to sit here and talk about the paranormal. Oh yeah.
Who do you think's causing all the daggum outlet stuff? Okay.
Oh.
Who's causing all the problems?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Anyway, but I still have fun. I love you guys.
I love you. I think I'm lagging a little bit tonight.
Maybe. But you're getting a lot of wind right now. We're getting a lot of wind right now. So expect lagging in a lot of different areas today. So,
yeah.
Right. Well, we decided that we're going to talk about the Conjuring House today.
But time out first, though. Time out first. You know,
what?
I'm not going to do the same thing everybody else does. But guess what, guys? There's something happening in September.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There's something happening in
September.
September.
Crossing Realms Conference. Yeah, it's the Crossing Realms Conference. If you haven't heard, it's the Crossing Realms Conference. It's the conference to be at. It's the 19th and 20th of September in Richmond, Missouri. So, there's a list of all of our speakers. If you would like tickets or you would like to be a vendor, or, you can sign up for different things. Our meet and greet on Friday night. Of course, all the speakers on Saturday. We do have a gallery reading with Marilyn Bass that's going to happen. You can do all of that stuff on Eventbrite. Just look up Crossing Realms Conference, and all your information should be there.
And bills paid. All right.
And bills paid.
Okay, so back to your thing there.
Well, yeah, I mean, we wanted to talk about the Conjuring House. I mean, we understand that the Conjuring House is under a lot of controversy right now, and we're not really going to get into that. That has nothing to do with us. We don't want anything to do with it. What we wanted to do was talk about the story, and actually the story behind the Conjuring House, the truth, the myths, the folklore, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is a very interesting story. Any story you hear about it, actually, it's interesting. But, we're trying to figure out what the real truth is about the Conjuring House. We know all about the movie. We know, that the children were levitating, and all this stuff was happening. The wife was thrown out of the room, and we know all of this stuff. But we want to just talk about all the different stories.
Cats and dogs living together.
Cats and dogs living together. Hey, that's my house. You better be quiet.
There's just something wrong about all that.
I mean it. I'll tell you what, there's one cat that doesn't get along with all the dogs, and that's my daughter's cat. She don't get along with nobody, I don't think.
Except your
That's
daughter.
Except her, yeah. I mean, she'll tolerate me because I'll feed her, when my daughter's gone, she'll tolerate me. And when she wants a pet or something, yeah, maybe. But not really. Not
That's
really.
Not very few and far between, huh?
No, but we do have a cat that has to stay outside because of course, the cat inside. She don't like nobody. And then I have my one little old man who's still left here. The inside cat don't get along with him either. He likes anything. He don't care. He don't care.
How's he doing, by the way?
He is doing good. I mean, I think we've got over the grieving process that he had to go through. But he's really doing great now. He has a lot more freedom now to rule the roost, because before we kind of had to keep him contained because the other one was so ill and everything. And we just couldn't have, the mess. We're just going to say the mess everywhere. So he does get a lot more freedom. I just have to watch him trying to get underneath my mom. That's always a fight because she's like, get on out of here. Get away from me.
Yeah.
Because he's always trying to love on her, And, but, that dog goes outside. Now we have 2 other dogs that are from down the road. When I say down the road, I mean down the road, and they always run up here and they hang out up here, and they're 2 big dogs. They remind me of a pit bull mix of some sort, very big dogs. Super, super sweet. There's male and female, super sweet. They get out playing with him. So he enjoys that a lot. He runs around with them, and our outside cat plays with them. She gets out there and runs around with him, and they play, and he'll knock her over, she'll knock him over. It's a lot of fun at my house. Just got one on me. Just one on me, nasty cat.
Speaking of zoos, Tammy Johnson says that she saw there's a reptile exhibit near Church, Texas.
So
yeah. So and evidently Tammy is from the area. So I guess she's gonna be there. We're gonna get to meet her, and so yeah, maybe we'll go look at a bunch of reptiles when we're there.
Maybe if we get the chance, I would like to do that. That's
Yeah.
I love doing that kind of stuff. Not to say I'm going to get real close, but I'll wait from a distance. Reptiles are not my favorites. I'm just saying.
But they're fun.
Oh gosh, no.
And I was thinking, I know I'm taking the show off the rails, and I'm sorry, but I got to get this out there. I was thinking, I was watching the other day, and the Titanoboa. Now this thing was big this thing was 80 feet long, 3 feet thick. Okay. So over knee high, right? Can you imagine? And if you've ever dealt with reptiles, they stink.
Oh yeah. Can
you imagine what that thing smelled like?
I had a boa that when I was in college that got up to about 7.5, 8 foot, and keeping him clean was a nightmare. He was a big baby. Of course, I kept him fed well, and stuff like that, so he didn't have to want for nothing. Everybody like, you can't tame those. I said, well, he sure as heck likes to wrap around my belly and watch TV with his head on my dadgum knee and watch TV with me. I could get up, walk around with him, and act like a belt.
Yeah, what's up with these people who sleep with reptiles?
Hey,
you ever seen that?
No, not happening. Can't
especially these pythons that can grow to an enormous length, And I had read somewhere that you should never let them sleep with you because they'll sleep the length of you. And what they're doing is basically sizing you up so they know how big they can have to grow to consume you.
Yeah. And suck whatever heat they can out of you, too.
Right. What is it going to take to take you out is basically what they're thinking.
Well, that sounds like my ex-wife.
I'm like, y'all are crazy. No. You know, we all know snakes is not my thing. Definitely not alligators. You know, no, just no. I guess any animal that could possibly kill you or eat you or both. No.
But
No.
you have cats.
Yeah,
That's
but
all
they
they're
do
doing.
that.
But that's all they're doing. They're waiting on you to die so they can eat you. That's all cats do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. That's their purpose in life, to just wait for a human to die so they can eat them. And they're going to take over the world. I'm telling you. They're a hive mind. They're evil hive mind, and they want to take over the world.
You will be
You know,
assimilated.
that probably. You know, I
Yeah.
think these cats over here will probably just meow and meow and meow, thinking that I need to come feed them even after I'm gone.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You can have what I have. I'll give you my lunatic rabbit. I've got a rabbit that has the dogs and the cats scared. So
My goodness. Well, let's move on to our story today.
okay.
I know. I mean, the Conjuring House really was one of those stories that stuck with me from the very get-go. That, and of course the Exorcist house and all of that, you know, just those stories have kind of stuck with me. They seem to be this staple of demonic possession, is what it seems like to me. You know, Amityville Horror, blah blah blah.
Right.
But you know, I've heard different stories about the Conjuring House, and they may not be what you think it is.
No.
So, Donnie, have you got that story about the original story? You're on mute.
Sorry, Bathsheba Sherman.
Yes. Can you tell us that story real quick?
Yeah, I'm trying to recall. It was back in like the late 18th. Well, it was 19th century, right? There's a lot of weirdness to this story, only because a lot of it is hearsay, and there's a lot of contradicting information. So when I looked into it, like there was, you know, the way the movie depicts her and the way the stories depict her, she was like some kind of child murdering Satanist lady who would,
a witch.
You know,
straight out witch. Yeah.
Who would sacrifice these children for the sake of Satan, and then she was caught by the villagers, the locals, and as a result, to escape justice, she took her own life. Now that's the through story, right? And a lot of these legends.
Yeah.
But looking into it, they found her gravestone, and she died at like 72. Most likely at that age and that time period, you probably died of natural causes. So who knows what's true exactly? As the story goes, she was known to be a particularly beautiful woman. The records show that she married a local farmer. Well, a successful farmer. He owned like a produce like marketing business, and. Yeah, the main rumor was that a child that she was babysitting died under her care, and I think that's where a lot of the rumors came about, where she was like sacrificing all these children. But again, it's hard to corroborate anything from that period because there's no official records other than what they could find with the sparse local records showing that there was a woman named Bathsheba there. Sherman was her married name. And that she did marry the farmer. That much we do know. But the actual gravestone that they found named Bathsheba in that area had her dying at the ripe old age of 72.
Yep.
Which contradicts
that
a
was
lot
like
of the details of the
1885.
story.
Yeah. So
which was old back then.
Yeah. If you died in 1885 at the age of 72, 73, you were definitely have lived a full life.
Yeah.
Probably another reason why they were calling her a witch. You know what I mean? For her living so long.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you figure out where she was at. She saw a lot of stuff, you know. I mean, at 73, you talk about it, she was born before the War of 1812 kicked off. So.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that. Go ahead.
that sucks, man. Just because you're healthy and you actually live long, you get called a witch.
Yeah. That, you know,
Well,
and
I'm
that's
guessing
exactly
also
what I
she was
thinking.
because she was particularly beautiful. Maybe a lot of local women were jealous of her. That happened.
Mhm. Yep.
Again, that sounds reminiscent of a lot of stories that we've heard in the past. You know, jealousy played a big role in a
Yeah.
lot of in the Salem witch trials.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
another thing, jealousy.
I can relate to that actually. You know, sometimes it's hard being a hottie. Sometimes life ain't that easy.
Right, right.
Hey, be kind. Can you take him off somewhere and do just get him out of here somewhere?
Just kidding. Well, anyway, so now on to the next part of the story
Mm-hmm.
is when this family moved in. Do you have that one, Donnie? That part of the story?
Well, I think that's where Randy picks up.
Yeah,
because
I picked up on some of that
really
one.
looked into that part. I did look into the family situation like briefly, but I think Randy's got a lot more details there based
Well,
off
yeah, I
of what
mean,
you
you
were
talk
telling me
about
about.
1971 was when they moved in. I mean,
Yeah.
Carolyn and Roger Peron, I don't know how they pronounce their name really because it's I don't even remember. Did they even use their name in the movie? I can't even remember if they used their actual name in the movie or not. But I'm assuming they did. But them and their 5 daughters moved into it. It's a 14-room farmhouse that they moved into. You know, and you know they claimed it was haunted by a malevolent spirit, later identified as Bathsheba Sherman, who lived on the property in the 19th century. Is what is coming out of the story. Now the haunting themselves, you know, what they reported various physical phenomenon, but you know, poltergeist activity, strange noise, shadowy figures, and the it says here the most feared presence being Bathsheba. So we're not talking about just Bathsheba. They've got more than one there, but Bathsheba is the one that they can come up with by name.
Yeah. Real quick, here's a quick picture of the Peron family.
Yep.
Happy couple, five girls. Nice.
How many
family.
daughters were in everybody's watched the movie, right? Because I watched it the one time, and I'm a firm believer on ghost stories and horror movies. I watch it one time, I'm pretty much done with it. I don't go back and watch it again because I don't get the same feeling out of it as I did the first time. So I don't even
True.
remember how many they had in the movie. Didn't they only have 2 daughters in the movie though? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's all they had, 2 or 3.
I think
max.
they only showed 2.
Yeah. So, but
It was 2 or 3. It wasn't 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
the Hollywood movies tend to do that. They even did that with the Von Erichs. They took out
Yep.
a brother.
completely
So-
omitted a brother, but you
Yeah.
know, either way, I mean, that's the creative license you get when you deal with Hollywood. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, and you talk about the haunting part of it, you know, the story, the quote unquote story, you know, obviously we got Ed and Lorraine Warren coming in and doing it after the mother begged Lorraine and then brought up her daughters. She used her daughters to help Lorraine push to come in there. You know what I mean? So I can understand the motherly instinct takes over, you know, because their daughter wasn't very old at that time. If you're wanting to come in and do this stuff, I mean, who are you gonna? Yeah, let's play to Lorraine. Don't play to Ed. You got to play to Lorraine. Let Lorraine push the issue to get in there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even today though,
Oh yeah.
when somebody wants, you know, if somebody's having problems getting somebody in there to do an investigation, if they've got kids, it's not unheard of, you know, that an investigation team will put those cases with kids involved at a precedent, you know, they're at the front of the line. Because I mean, you know, normal, you know, people naturally want to protect the kids. So, you know, you'll hit those first, you know, and usually if the kids are being harassed, you'll take them more seriously. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. You know, which, you know, the photos and everything that they took, I'm sure got their attention.
Oh yeah. I mean, and you know, we've got several. We got several photos, obviously, of the house itself, you know, and such. So let me fix this where we're on here with it. So, but the house there. Then you got your seance room. I mean, you got a lot of stuff there that could be, you know.
So why do they?
What?
Why do they call it the seance room? I mean, is that where they?
It doesn't tell me. I mean, I can't. All I can give it is just that's the name of the room that was with the picture. You know, because I was like, it doesn't tell me. I'm assuming they've done seance. Now that same room also has that Ouija board up by the on the mantle too. So you know.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, they call it the seance room is because that is where allegedly they were trying to have a seance there with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and that's where the wife was actually thrown from that room to the living room.
Yeah, got chunked all the way across the floor back into that room, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's why they call that the seance room. That used to be, it's not set up that way now, but it used to be what they would have as the dining room.
Right.
Okay.
Because if you keep walking past there and there's a little hallway there, you go into the kitchen. So the kitchen is right there. So it only makes sense that that first room right there would be the actual dining room, which, you know, made sense. But, you know, I've been there. I stayed the night there. I had a fantastic night investigating. It was fantastic. Weird things did happen there. But I'm going to get into that in just a minute.
Okay, I was about to ask.
Yeah, the story that I heard when I got there was not the story that everybody's hearing. This is not the story I got about the true Conjuring House. Now, Bathsheba was just brought up. She had nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing to do with any part of the real story. It's just somebody who they had brought into the story because of something back in history that had happened, and it may be just a little conflict, you know, like you let your chickens run in my yard, or who knows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It could have been something as simple as that, but she is not part of the quote unquote story that I had heard. Now, this was given to me by the person who was actually running it at the time that I went. Now, as the story goes, there was a woman and her husband who had lived there, and he had passed away, and she had lived there for several years until she then passed away. Then the Peron family moved in. All right, so Mr. Peron was down in the basement, and they have this. What did we call that, Randy? The boiler.
Oh yeah, the
They had
boiler. Yeah.
the boiler and everything down there, and it was messing up.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about the house for a minute. It was built by the Amish. Now, in Amish culture, they will build a house as big as they need right that moment. And then as their family grows, they will add on to the house, or they will add on season by season by season. Because if you're in the top of the house, you can clearly see how this was done, because there is a bedroom, and then you walk through a doorway, another bedroom, walk through another doorway, and another bedroom. So it's kind of like a shotgun house would be.
It does look like that. If you look at it at its construction, it does look like it was made that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the first bedroom up there, there is a closet there where I wouldn't even I call it attic storage or whatever they used it for at one time. But it had burned. And you can open up that door and literally look in there, and you can see the burnt boards. They're still there. They didn't need to be replaced, but they are definitely charred. So there was some kind of something that happened in the house, and, you know, all that energy, we all know what happens with that pent up energy. But then there's the first room and the first bedroom, and it has like 2 double beds in it. Then you move to the middle room, which happens to be the most haunted. That's what everybody says. That's what I figured out, is right there in the middle, because it's built really weird. There's a closet over to the side, but there's a little alcove that goes around that closet to nowhere. It just ends in a wall. And it's barely wide enough where you can walk your body into it. It's just very thin and very strange. But they have noted that they had seen some ghosts in there and all of this other kind of stuff. And then there is a third.
Was added on? Was that one part that was added on you were talking about?
Yeah, because the first part was the two beds with the burnt attic.
Which
then
was
the
the
room
original,
that we
right?
were in, there's actually a window they never took out. It still has the original window with panes in it that you can look back and forth to rooms, but that was another part of the house. They just left the window in and kept moving.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
and then there is the third part of the house. Now, because of the old heating and everything that they had to do back then, when they had built the home, there was no actual heat. So they had open vents in the bottom, in the floors. So you could actually look down and see below.
See down into that basement.
No, you could see down into the first floor.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right. So when they would light the fires and the fireplace and all that, then all the heat would come up through the vents to warm the upstairs.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we'll go back into that. But let me tell you about the story. So the Perons moved in, okay, and the Mr. Peron was downstairs, and how the story goes is that's when they started to encounter all of this business. Okay, all the hauntings and everything, because that's where it all started. But let's go back to the woman and the man that lived there. Now, the family that had moved in, the Perons, he was down there fixing the boiler, and then appeared in front of him was an apparition of this woman who had lived in that house without her husband for so many years. Okay. Well, this is where it gets weird right off the bat. Well, he kept going down there to this boiler room, and she kept appearing. And somehow they created some type of relationship.
Uh-oh.
They developed a bond?
They bonded, right?
Yeah.
They bonded. And then, right, this is where it gets weird. So then the attacks on the wife started and the children. Just minor on the children, just a little bit, but not much. I'm trying to tell this story so everybody understands, because it's so weird. Anyway, so what had happened is that the missus, started getting beat up and pushed around, and things started happening to her. And so what they figured out was it was the widow that was doing this to her. The widow had developed feelings for the man. And she was like trying to get the missus out. She thought that she should have those kids. She thought that she should be in that house with him and the family, that she should be the woman of the house. So all of this stuff, they started having all these things. In come Ed and Lorraine Warren, because nobody knew exactly what was happening in the beginning. And Lorraine Warren wasn't there for much of the story at all. They made it seem like they were there for the entire time, but they weren't. So Ed and Lorraine Warren came over. They did a couple of things. They said they were going to do the seance. They went to the seance room. And that's when Mrs. Peron got thrown from the seance room to the living room. Ed Warren believed that she was possessed and was telling the mister, hey, don't touch her. There's something there. She's possessed. Don't touch her. And so he basically screamed, and I'm going to clean this up. Don't tell me I can't touch my wife. And then a little, how could I say it? Fisticuff ensued just a little bit. Ed got the bad end of it, and Mr. Peron threw everybody out. Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren had all their stuff in the basement, all this equipment and all this other kind of stuff. And Lorraine came back over about a week or so later to talk to the missus, and she opened the door. There's Lorraine. She just shut the door. She didn't want to talk to him. She didn't want she didn't want him back in the house, all of this other kind of stuff. So Ed and Lorraine Warren weren't there for much of this story. They were just there for a brief little bit. They caused a big scene and they were making things worse. So they were gone. After this had all happened, still things were happening to the wife. Like she would get scratched or she'd be tripped down the stairs or, pulling hair, all kinds of things would happen. So the widow was the one who was supposedly doing all of this. And she said that the mister belonged to her and the kids belonged to her and she wanted the wife out. Well, the wife was in so much pain all the time that Mr. Peron decided to go with his wife and move out of the house after all of the stuff had gone on. He chose his wife.
Right.
So all of this stuff started happening, and then she was still getting attacked. Time and time again, still getting attacked. Finally, when they had separated and left one another, the attacks on the wife had stopped.
Yeah, he had formed a bond, definitely, and that entity was jealous.
Right.
What it sounds like.
Right. And so, it's kind of like a love triangle kind of a story. I mean, I wish I could find that guy that was there taking the caretaker of that house. I can't find him anymore because of all this hoopla that's going on. I've been trying to find him for a couple weeks. I can't find him, but the whole story is kind of weird because you have so many different stories. You're talking about like a love triangle between a man, his wife, and a ghost. Okay. Yeah. You have Bathsheba, the witch.
Yeah.
You have basically demonic possession going on, which is
here's the
crazy.
question. Is he saying that woman that is attached to him is not Bathsheba though, right? It was another woman,
Bathsheba.
right?
It's the other, It's the widow. Yes. Okay. It is the widow.
Bathsheba was a widow as well, too, because when she passed away, her actual son lived another 15, 18 years after that. And so, but they weren't even in that area, I don't think, at that point. They
never lived in the house. They never lived in the house.
Okay.
Ever. Bathsheba was never in the house, period.
Okay.
Now, something interesting about the house is, who's to say what story is true, what story is not true? Who knows? But I will tell you this. They have like little green and flags out in the yard, and they're sporadic. And they took some ground penetrating equipment out there, and there are bodies underneath the ground out there that are unmarked. They are not quite sure of who they are, and they're never going to dig them up. They won't let any archaeologists in there. They won't let them touch it because once they start digging, if they find something, they have to keep digging. Yeah. So in the process, they could lose the house and the entire property due to them digging up these.
Yeah, and you don't want that to happen. If you just know they're there, there's no telling how long they've been there. There's obviously not quote unquote foul play involved. And so you just leave them at rest. They were buried there for a reason by somebody's ancestors.
Right. So, so they'll never pull those bodies out of the ground. Like I said, once they start excavating and pulling all the stuff out of the ground, they will not stop. If they still have, like if there's a hint of something in there, they'll go after it and the whole house will come down.
Yeah.
But on the property itself, if you walk out the back and you just keep walking and there's a little trail out there and you follow that around, there is a cemetery out there. Now, when I went there, oddly enough, it started raining so very, very hard that we had to wait on the side of the road for it to stop raining before we could continue to get there. Now, we were only less than 10 miles away from it.
Oh, wow.
Very strange.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to the house, it was all flooded out there. And, you know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't have, I didn't have anything, you know, because I was just in Salem, Massachusetts for a couple days and drove out there. And yeah, I wasn't prepared. I had my tennis shoes. I didn't have any mud boots. You know,
Right.
I'm like, nah, you know, because I still
Yeah.
have to go home through Boston to get home. So we're not doing that. Um,
You
no, people would
driving through
probably,
Boston sucks, by the way.
yeah,
Logan.
it does.
Oh, Logan.
It does. It does suck. You know, it took me probably 55 minutes to get from Boston to Salem. That's a long time, people. It's not that
Yeah.
far away. It's not
No.
that far from Boston. It just takes forever.
hmm
And that Uber trip
Yeah.
it almost killed me. I'm just saying. You got a little scared out there with them people driving. But I mean, you know, I don't know really what to believe. I mean, I think that some of the movie does depict part of the story that is absolutely spot on.
Mhm.
But then
Mhm.
there's other parts of the story, as you know, you dig in to find the stuff that is absolutely false. And I don't know why that they added Bathsheba into all this, because she had nothing to do with the story.
And that's I I don't know who actually identified Bathsheba. Was it Lorraine that it had identified it as Bathsheba?
I think so.
That's
I
kind of
think
what I
so.
remember it being. But um, now don't get me wrong. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big mark when it comes to Ed and Lorraine Warren. But I also know that they get stuff wrong too. Everybody gets stuff wrong. Don't get
Oh
me
yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So now I looked at the movie, when I first saw it, and I told people who was around me, I told my wife, I was like, they're using this movie to establish something with the Warren and all their files, is what I'm
Hmm.
thinking. And sure enough, that's what it's turned into. The whole Conjuring series, and they got another one, a last one that's coming out, I think, later this year. That's supposed to be
Yeah,
the last of the bunch.
I can't watch them.
I could
I
the
can't
last
watch them.
one. Yeah, the last one I watched it and I was like, this is crap. I mean, it wasn't well made. It was more of a whodunit more than anything else. And I was like,
Well,
y'all
if
at least
you
get all John Zaffis in to help him kind of tell y'all which way to go with it or something.
something. John Zaffis, he's such a great guy. Anyway, he he doesn't he doesn't talk much about what they had done,
Mhm.
because he is fantastic in his own right, and I think that he
Oh, you
wants
ain't
to
even
keep
kidding.
that separate. He doesn't want to claim their legacy because he has his own.
Oh, by a long shot, yeah. He's probably done more in his time after they hung up their stuff and Ev was gone and everything. He probably did more since then than they did in all their years. Honestly, if you want to get right
Right.
down to it.
Right. I know he started off with them. I mean, I've seen the pictures and everything, but when I talked to John, it was kind of like he more or less was in it to help people
Yeah.
with again, with the haunted items. We talk about that many times about the stuff that he would do. I mean, he keeps the stuff at his home.
Right.
He corrals it and puts it away so people can't get it. He doesn't put it. I guess he does technically have the quote unquote museum, but anything that he deemed to be not really for the faint of heart, or he didn't want him to get back out, he locked it away.
Oh, yes. Let me tell you. So I was in Michigan, and we were at this conference, and and I was talking to him, and they had this kind of it was a fundraiser type thing, and they were doing auctions and all this other kind of stuff. Well, this one woman had won this haunted doll, and the crazy part is that it was from the Booth brothers.
Oh, really?
They had sent that. Now we know about the Booth brothers. We
Yeah.
watched The Haunted Boy. We
Yep.
did all of that with they were the film directors and everything on The Haunted Boy with the Exorcist house and all that
Yep,
kind of stuff.
yep.
Well, they sent this doll. Well, evidently, when they opened up the box, it came with a butcher knife. Don't even know.
Okay.
It's like, hello, thank
Hmm.
you.
What
So
the?
this woman brought it up to John, and he's kind of sitting in front of me, and we're just talking. There's about 4 or 5 of us there, and we're just sitting there talking. And she hands it to him, and she says, "I'm not taking this home.
Really?
I'm not." She goes, "I'm not taking it home." She goes, "Will you do something with it?"
Mhm.
And he said, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
So he took it up to his hotel room, and he come back down, and we just had a really good time that night. Well, the next morning I saw him. It was probably about 6:30 or 7, and I was getting coffee, and I said, "So John," I said, how did you get along with that doll last night?" And he just kind of went, "Eh." That's all he said.
If that's all he said,
He's
then
like,
he has the fun.
"Eh." Right? Like, yeah, I've got to get this thing home still.
Yeah, I got to
I-
go with this thing. We can't have this out.
Right. That's basically what he had done with that. But bringing it back
Well,
to the doll, they have a replica of Annabelle in the Conjuring House.
yeah, that was the one that here I'm gonna
Mhm.
bring. I think it was on this one. Nope, it was in the seance room. I think is where. Yeah, as you can see right here.
Well, no, because it's totally different now. It's set up totally different now. I do believe
I
that couch is there.
understand.
But do you see those two? Go pull that picture back up. You see
Okay.
those two doors right there?
Yeah, to the
Okay.
left.
So I was sitting in the far one, in the far back one there, and I was sitting
Okay.
on the floor. And across from me, against that window, there was a type of cabinet which held the Annabelle doll, which is a replica with a house and everything.
Oh, wait a second. I think I didn't. Let me look. I may have actually downloaded a picture of that one too. I cannot remember. I'm trying to remember if I got it or not. I may not have done it just because I didn't want it to be
Okay,
there.
that is the room that I was sitting in the doorway. That is the library.
That's
Yes.
that library. Okay. Now
Yes.
there was one. I do know. I saw a picture of it. I'll have to go out and see if I can find it again. But I did see that picture out on one of the other sites and such. But I left it alone. I was like, because it's in the same basic house and a glass thing as what the Warrens had the actual Annabelle in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody could look that up. That would be awesome, because I mean it's relevant to what was going on in that house. Was
Well,
there
now
anything like demonic activity? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
they
Did
also
I
had
feel?
another doll. They had another doll that they still have hanging on the wall, I think, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's not it.
That's an Amish doll. I know what that one is.
Yes, yes. And they probably found that, even restoring the house, or, they had to redo a lot of it to put heat and air and everything else in there.
Yeah.
But where was I at? Anyway, so the Annabelle doll, if we can find that, it's relevant because the picture that I said that I was sitting in that doorway, I was sitting on the floor, and we had the spirit box on, and we were talking. And I turned the spirit box on, and we're all asking questions, which I can't find my jump drive. I've got all this stuff on a jump drive, and I can't find that particular jump drive. It's around here somewhere. I can't find it. That's why we didn't have it. But it was asking us questions as we were asking it questions. Because one of the guys said, "You're being awfully quiet. Are you getting tired?" And it said, "Might be."
Oh wow.
And then we were talking about, just other things. And the other guy pipes up and he says, something about, I said, "What month do you like?" And it didn't say anything. And then the kid says, "Oh, well, my birthday's, I think he said January." And the thing said, "What day?"
Wow.
So, which was weird, which was really weird, because I've never known it to ask questions back. it's usually the one word answer, maybe this or that. But when he said, my birthday's in January, and then it says what day, we were actually having intelligent conversations with this thing through the spirit box. All through the night, it was lighting up every piece of equipment we had. And it wasn't crazy. It wasn't all at once. It was kind of like, something would go off and we would get stuff here or we would get stuff there. We were getting EVPs, nothing strange. The house is definitely haunted for sure. Demonic is absolutely out of the question. Whatever happened there, it was definitely not demonic. And, as we were sleeping upstairs, now we slept me and my friend, we slept in the middle room, and there was other people sleeping on both ends. She had her family with her and I was with her family. And, I woke up in the middle of the night to footsteps, and you could hear them through the grates running back and forth downstairs.
Really?
So I just kind of laid down. I'm like, I'm not getting up right now. I'm not getting up right now, because the Conjuring House has a name, and it's a big name, and you never know what you're going to run into. So I'm not going to get up. Well, about 20 minutes later, it started happening again, and I sat up, and then my friend woke up and sat up. And I looked at her. I said, are you ready? She said, yep, let's go. So we got all of our equipment. We went all the way down in the basement and started working our way up, and this is really early in the morning. So we were going through that. We were hearing all kinds of weird stuff. But as we went down, we went all the way down in the basement. Now, they did not have vents in the basement because during the winter and, when they thought that, like cattle thieves were around or whatever, they would bring their cattle into the house. That's where they would milk them. That's where they would keep them, at certain times. So they didn't have those grates in the floor, because of the smell and everything going up into the house. So they didn't have that. So you couldn't hear us down in the basement. And you couldn't hear nothing. I call it more of a walkout basement, but it's like you couldn't hear us upstairs. But while we were upstairs, my friend's son heard somebody say, are you ready to go? But it wasn't us.
Whoa. Oh.
We were already downstairs in the basement. It's kind of like it mimicked what I had already said. Are you ready to go?
That's not a good sign.
And it was kind of right. And the crazy thing is that we all left on recorders in different parts of the upstairs. So I didn't catch it, but their recorder caught it saying that. But mine caught the footsteps. And then my friend, who was sleeping right next to me in the same bed, her recorder caught somebody running around in the room.
What the? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you a heads up on that one right then and there. Hey, we need to have a talk. I gotta shut up and let me sleep, or I'm gonna end up leaving. All right.
They didn't wake me up. They only woke me up in the morning when they were downstairs making a whole lot of noise. But what do you guys think about this story? Do you think that what story do you believe? Because something happened in that house.
Yep.
Yeah, but what?
That's the biggest thing. And I'm trying to find
we've
that
heard
picture
the story
again.
about we've heard the story about the witch Bathsheba. We've heard the story about, the love triangle. We've heard, just the basic stuff about a demonic presence. What do you think it was? It happened. It happened.
I don't think it's a demonic in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a lost soul. I think it's a lost soul that's attaching and wants to be the center of attention. Now, obviously, when she attached to him, she started attacking the wife because she wanted to take over where the wife's at. I don't consider that necessarily demonic in any way, shape, or form. I think it's just a straight out lost soul.
Yeah, like a love triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a jealous ghost. It doesn't sound like it's any more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was reports of the children, of having these experiences, levitation, whatever you want to, you want to say. Well, I mean, why do you think that it went after them to begin with? Do you think that
Get their attention, maybe?
to get the mother out, maybe?
Yeah.
They were a symbol of his and the wife's love, and she probably wasn't into that. She probably wanted to see the kids go.
Maybe she wanted him
so?
Maybe she wanted him all to herself.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in finding out what exactly went on between he and that ghost lady in the basement.
Yeah.
Kind of
What
action
kept
Basically-
going?
Basically it was just that bond of every time he went down there, she was there. I guess they would.
And he was cool with
Maybe.
It was
that?
never made clear to me if this bond that they were having was like in his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or were they
Maybe-
verbally, like, out loud talking to each other? And if they were, how come the wife never heard it?
Maybe maybe there was an actual woman that was in the basement.
Oh, man.
I don't know. That's pretty rough basement to live in. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No, I'm not talking about to live in. What kind of floors did it have in it?
The cement and dirt.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not fit to live in.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about living in.
Oh gosh, no, yeah, no, and I know what you're talking. There's unless he drug some furniture down there, absolutely not.
Well,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, do you think it was somebody that he was involved with and he disappeared them in the basement?
I don't think I don't think she was living.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is she under the floor is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's that person's body below the house.
Yes.
Below the house? Now that
Yeah.
could be possible.
Did he have an affair and it get too, she got too wrapped up in it and he had to kill her?
Or maybe it was somebody from before who buried somebody underneath
That's
there.
possible too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like I said, it wouldn't take much to hide it under there. There's not much, there are houses around it now, but there wasn't before.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe somebody got offed and maybe it was like, and maybe they were just taking it out on.
Because, like, not all spiritual entities start off as physical people.
Well, that's true too.
Very
Yeah.
true. Very true. Very true. Like I said, it's all kind of a mystery to me what the real story is. There has been multiple theories out there of what actually happened. And like Donnie said, there's not much out there,
Yeah.
to really sink your teeth into and saying, hey, look, I've got newspaper clippings, or I've got, this, that, or the other, or I've got letters from this person to this person, or it's hard to really look up because it's all hearsay for right now. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just really hard. It's just super hard, and I'm gonna talk about the little bit of the controversy right now because this has a little bit to do with it.
Well,
The woman who currently owns it.
we've got a
the
little bit
woman
of a
who currently
controversy
owns
going
it.
though.
What's
We've
that?
got a bit of a controversy though, because
Donnie Cho, meme of the week.
All right.
I mean,
nice
honestly,
segue there.
we gotta be. We can't let it
If
keep
there's
going without.
controversy, Donnie's bringing it. Donnie's bringing it.
Okay, so Bathsheba Sherman. By the way, that's such a weird name to name your daughter,
It is.
Bathsheba. She's
Bathsheba.
like a sort of a villain in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
For those of
Yeah.
you who don't know, Bathsheba was the one that King David was sweating over, and he saw her bathing, and he got a little excited, and so he had her husband killed in battle so that he can marry her. God punishes him, of course. She gives birth
Of
to King
course.
Solomon, so she's the daughter of King Solomon. But that's like naming your son Judas. Right? I mean, people. It's
Well,
common. It's common practice in
is.
Western culture to name your kids after biblical figures, but not biblical villains. Though it's weird. But anyway,
You're
my
right.
question was: what if Bathsheba Sherman fell in love and made babies with a gray alien? Guys, what do you think that would look like? Do you like
I
the
have no
hearts in the
idea.
background? By the way,
I do see the hearts.
yeah, true love.
I don't
guys,
know.
True love.
This is a tough one. What is it?
Here it is. A boom, Madonna.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
You know how she's all
that hurt.
looking. Not you know how she
The way
was
she
like
looks
looking
now?
all like yeah.
Oh my goodness, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean she wasn't a villain, but she wasn't like a superhero neither.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, poor Madonna.
I mean, look at
Poor
that
Madonna.
resemblance.
She should have
You
just
combine them
rolled
together.
gracefully and let it ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should have just let it go.
Her remake of American Pie deserves her a fate worse than being drawn and quartered.
Yeah, I mean, and there are better pictures, Johnny, you could have used for that. That would have even pushed that point even more.
I'm sure.
Yeah, poor Madonna. I used to really like her when she was young.
A lot of
she was
people
like
did.
a virgin.
Just all of it, all of that whole 80s thing, you know. She really had it, you know what I mean, in the 80s. I think she should have quit in the 2000s.
Oh, 100%.
Or at least like age a little more gracefully.
Yeah.
No, she should have just left herself alone and aged normally.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
100%.
I don't, you know, I mean, I can't say that. I mean, look at Cher. Cher has had so much work done.
She can't get next to a fire. What are you talking about?
She can't, but
She'll
she
literally
doesn't.
melt.
Right. But, you know, she's always had her own unique look. You know what I mean? Cher always
Yeah.
has. So even with the plastic surgery, she still looks like Cher. Really.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, she does.
She just
I mean,
always had her unique look. She just never went overboard with it, you know. But it might be time for Cher to stop too. I'm just saying. Time for these ladies to yeah.
right
Get
off
old
into
with
the
the rest of
sunset.
it. Yeah, get old like the rest of us.
Hey,
Damn it.
who's old? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, poo. Anyway, so going back to the Conjuring House, I mean, it. The lady who owns it now, I mean, I'm sure everybody's followed it. We know that she's in legal trouble now. She is in all kinds of business trouble. Just, I don't know what happened. But one of her biggest things that I heard her say, which is crazy, she said one of the ghosts told her that one of her employees was stealing from her,
Really?
which really started this whole thing. Because there was an employee who got fired, and she evidently owed him past wages. And, you know, it was something in the realm of like $9,000 of past wages she didn't pay him.
What the heck?
Right. But her reasoning for that was that he stole from her.
Was she able to prove it?
The ghost told her
Well,
he was doing that.
let me see if I can think about this. As much as I like the paranormal, and as much as I like, you know, talking about this kind of stuff. I'm gonna tell you right now that talking to ghost stuff doesn't quite work in a court of law.
Right.
She withheld
No.
pay. She withheld pay from somebody. That's the same
What
as
she's in
stealing
trouble?
from.
What she's in trouble for? She's in a lot of legal trouble, and you
Yeah, I know.
guys can look it up and follow it online. And
We don't want her to
I'm
be
not going
yelling
to go
at
over that story. But the ghost told her.
Well, I did find it finally, just to give you a heads up.
Oh,
Was the
there it
ghost-
is. Can we zoom in on that?
No, I didn't do it that way. Now, hang on. Now I got to bring it up in the. Messing me up.
I mean, because you could depict a picture that the doll was the farthest one away. I mean,
Well, that was the
honestly,
only way I could
because I
see
got a
the
story about
entire
that doll.
room. There's only one we could see the
It's like,
entire
I got-
room. Okay.
Well, we'll go back to it, but I need to. I mean, there's a
Golly,
story about
Randy.
that doll.
Picky today. Gosh, she's picky today.
Well, normally Randy does it the right way.
Well, okay. Now I'm going to. Well, I never do it really on this one. We just upload on this one, but now you're making me
The
have
one
to
time
use
he had to copy
my
me. See what
TRT
happens.
mode.
Oh, right. The one time.
Yeah.
The one
Okay,
time.
now I'm gonna do it the right way. Okay, here you go. Not a great picture.
All right. So, yes, that is a replica right there.
Mhm.
And that's the way it pretty much looks today. That
Okay.
room right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have an issue.
That's nothing new.
Well, that's true. They call it a replica, right? It's nothing but a Raggedy Andy doll.
Well, yeah, but it's a replica of the actual Annabelle doll. They don't have access to the real one. They wanted to make sure this one was there though, because they're
Yeah, but I mean,
capitalizing on the movie is what they're doing.
But I mean, but they call it a replica. It's not a replica
Because that whole case right there is a replica of what is in the Warrens Museum. The whole case and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about this. I mean, Robert the doll. Okay, let's talk about Robert for a second. Robert the doll was made by the Steiff Company. The Steiff Company makes teddy bears.
Yeah.
And they make expensive teddy bears. Teddy bears. And Robert the doll came from the Steiff Company. Which is strange. I'm like, and I love Steiff bears. And I have a few that I got when I lived there. And I love them. They're just made different. They're made differently. They feel different, and they're just more lovable. So I got a couple. But anyway, so I was in the house and I'm sitting in those doorways that we talked about earlier, which if you're looking at the whole picture, you know, you can't see it from this particular. Yes, but on the back side is where the study is. And I'm sitting right there. Now, there was sitting a coffee table in front of the actual couch that is there now. There's a coffee table there, and the couch is sitting back a little bit farther. I'm sure they move it around from time to time.
Oh yeah.
But what I had done is I put cat balls on top of that table right in front of the Annabelle doll. I'm like, watch this, and I'm just gonna put that. And I didn't expect anything out of it. I'm like, whatever. And then I put some down on the coffee table in front of the couch. Well, the ones on the coffee table started going off, and everybody is sitting down now. There's nobody walking in the home. So we all know that cat balls, they have to be moved to start to flicker. So they were going off on the coffee table. No big deal. We've had that happen before. But then the spirit box started talking again. And it's saying, like, look behind you. Now, I'm going to tell you this much. There's been so many times on a spirit box I've heard, I'm behind you, I'm beside you, look behind you, I'm right here. You know what? And then you turn 360 degrees and there's nothing there. Nothing visible, nothing at all.
Right.
And this thing said, look behind you. And I said, okay, fine. I'll play, I'll play, whatever. So I had my body facing towards the library, sitting on the floor. And then I just turned myself around, and then the light balls in front of the Annabelle doll were going off. We were all sitting down.
Yeah. When does, well,
Wow.
here we go again. When does it quit being a coincidence?
Yeah,
Exactly.
no kidding.
Exactly. I mean, but you talk about some of these places. I mean, that they say they're haunted, but I believe they're oversaturated to the point where they're just overhunted. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
the ghosts start, they stop doing this. They're like, you know what? You guys aren't listening to me. I tell my story every night. You all are not listening, blah, blah, blah. I quit, basically. But this place knows how to use every piece of equipment you throw at it. You don't have to explain nothing, because we know walking into a new location, sometimes you have to work with the spirits and show them how to use it, or, that sort of thing, and hope you get a response. Not at this place. They know everything that you bring in, and they communicate through it, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, because we had one of those floor lights that run on vibration. So you have to, step right next to it, make a vibration for the light to light up. And, when you walk by it, it'll start at the very end and kind of light up as you walk
Right.
with it.
Right.
It was doing that stuff just easy. One side, and then it'd go to the other side. And then it was kind of like, it would be like playing hopscotch, jumping over it from side to side, making it go off. It was a very strange place. But I just don't think that this whole story about this demonic entity and what they portrayed on these movies is correct. I just don't think so.
Do you think that did you see any evidence at all that there being more than one entity in this house?
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to tell you, there was even a phantom cat. We kept hearing cat meow. If we were outside, we would hear it inside. If we were downstairs, we'd hear it upstairs. If we were upstairs, we'd hear it downstairs. It was just amazing. But there are no cats that are in the house or on property. And then we looked for any signs of maybe some stray cats or something being outside. We looked everywhere, high and low. Nothing. No cats at all. None.
Really?
Yep. And
That's
the guy that stayed there on property, he had said there hadn't been any cats there for a long, long time. He hadn't seen a cat out there. But yet we have cats on our audio.
I have a major issue that's going to break this case wide open right now.
Oh no.
I just want to tell y'all right now, just remember this word, fragile. That's all you need to know. Fragile.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
Look right here.
Oh yeah, Chris's
I
story.
have that
that cute.
same lamp right there on my bedside table.
That's so funny.
I just
That's
sat there, I
awesome.
backed out. I was like,
I don't think that's
oh
in the
my
house
God.
now, but
When you said fragile, I was like,
Yeah.
Christmas story. What does that have to do with the cat?
Yeah, because I literally, when I backed
Right.
out, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even notice that thing was there the first time I looked at the picture.
right. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't see that lamp in there.
I'm wondering
and
now
it
if the
could
guys
have
that took
been
the
moved
picture
out.
did it on purpose. You know?
Well, this looks like from the owners before I got there. Now it has changed hands different times.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see that lamp there, but that's cute. I'd have laughed at it if I saw it too.
Little Patty's got a question here I'm going to throw up here, and this is for the ghost hunting side of us. Dadgum, click the right one, dummy. Anyway, EMF apps for the smartphones, do they actually work the way they're supposed to?
Like those Ouija board apps?
Yeah, I would suggest
No.
that they do not. Yeah,
No.
I would suggest they
And I'm
do
going to
not.
tell you why.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you why right now. Because when you use those apps, when you're using anything, the Spirit Talker, whatever app that you're just trying to use on your phone, it will ask you to use your phone settings,
Exactly.
such as your contacts, your pictures, your microphone.
Yep.
So while you're using the app, it is actively listening to you and spitting things back at you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do not use those. I recommend, just the spirit box itself.
Yeah.
Something that runs on radio waves and not through your phone. I do
Well, now,
recommend that because
as far as
Go
ghost
ahead.
box type stuff, I agree. I agree with you. Ghost box type stuff,
Mhm.
there's apps there, and there's actual programs you can use that'll use the electronic, signals and such, and amplify it for you, or capture it and transmit it in translate it into a sound you can understand. Whereas I think she was asking kind of on the EMF app, because there are EMF apps for your actual phone. And I look at that stuff. I'm like, how can you have an EMF app on your phone when your phone doesn't have a dang sensor to track EMF?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly. So
does it have some sort of something sensor? Don't get me wrong. It's got something, but I look at a lot of them the same way as I did as we talked about before on our show, is use stuff as a tool to guide you where you kind of want to go, then use your real stuff. You know what I mean?
The funniest one that I've seen, and I have to talk about this app, and maybe somebody else has seen it out there, but it's the one where you hold up your phone and it's like got your camera on and it's looking through the room, and then it'll point out a ghost, kind of like an SLS camera would, and it'll point out the ghost right there. And I'm like,
yeah.
Don't go old school. I mean, if you want to see if something's walking around your floor, by gosh, grab the baby powder, put some baby powder on the floor and see if you get footsteps. Use dowsing rods. Use your body, because when something's standing around you, your hair stands up, or the on the back of your neck or on your arms, or use your body. That is your best equipment. It really, really is. Use your ears, use your eyes. All the scientific equipment is great, but I think you're just chasing nothing a lot of times, using equipment and not using the senses that I know everybody has. Are you willing to use them?
Right.
How many times have you walked into a room or something and you're going, oh my God, I just walked through a spider web, but there's no spider web? Okay. So, you got to take all those things into account. Using your body first and foremost is what you should always use. Always use. Don't invite anything to touch you, but recognize what your body's trying to say. Is like, hey, there's something watching me. And, because
Randy's got the dowsing rod ready.
Right. Get the dowsing rods out. Shoot, they can find water. They can find ley lines. They can do a lot of things. Use them. Just use them. Just go old school. Like I said, we used baby powder in it was a tanning salon, actually, and it was built over this piece of property that was next to the church. The church's graveyard, it was next to it. But as the story goes with this property, that they don't really know if anybody was underneath it, because it was a Catholic church cemetery. And if you were not baptized into, being Catholic, you couldn't be buried there if you weren't part of the church. So people would just bring their loved ones up in the middle of the night, burying them in there. So they were never sure if there was anything underneath that far. So she was having a lot of problems in this. So we did use a little bit of baby powder going down the hallway. And we did see, a half a print. So I mean, like I said, just go old school if nothing else. Listen to yourself.
That's
Well-
the best thing.
And K2 meters.
Yep.
K2 meters are fine and dandy. But if
But
you
that's
shake them a little bit too much, they'll go
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
If you get next to a hot wire, they'll go off. You're next to too close to somebody's phone, even if it's on airplane mode, sometimes will go off. You just have to kind of, balance it out, use common sense when you're doing this stuff, and make sure you carry around a notebook and note these things. Hey, my K2 meter keeps going off in this corner, or, just keep a list of where your stuff is going off. So when you're standing in a room and it does go off, you're like, hey, I don't have anything listed here that says this is going off because of the house or the building.
Right.
Just keep
Well, yeah.
track of it.
And you can ask Tex. He's been around me when we were doing the cemetery and stuff up Brown Springs and everything. And when I got my voice meter out, I am literally taking readings with my tri-field meter, and I'm noting my temperature, microteslas, milligauss, and the actual volt per meter for the electrical fields. So I've literally that tri-field meter is my favorite piece of equipment because it's more sensitive than what the K2s are, and it's not as susceptible to false readings, shall we say.
And I really like I call it the Eddie Plus EDI. It's EDI Plus, and I like it a lot because it is not sensitive at all.
Yeah.
And it will record pressure, humidity, temperature, EMF, vibration, all on a graph for you. So, like I said, you
Vibration
can,
a big thing.
yeah, and you can definitely, it goes on a graph, and you can just look at all the things that are happening all at the same time. But the one that weirds me out the most is not the temperature, not the EMF, not the vibration. It is the humidity and the pressure. Because when those things start changing in a room, there's a problem, especially if you haven't done anything or moved anything, opened any doors. If that stuff starts changing, there's something going on. There's definitely something going on. You should be on high alert.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. So anywho, yeah, that's I know a lot of people put a lot of stock into like K2s and stuff like that, but you got to remember, there's just a flashing light when it all comes down to it. It really is. That's about what it amounts to, is a flashing light, just for you to do a quick communication. If you could even establish a communication, you can use it for your answer. Remember how they used to use the flashlight? Hey, turn the flashlight on, turn the flashlight off. You don't have to do that with K2. Set that sucker going. Hey, make it flash a little bit. And it doesn't require, this is theoretical. I'm obviously no expert per se on it, but it would not take as much effort from the spirit to make a little LED light come up, versus having to turn on an actual flashlight.
But
Well,
if it's turning on an actual flashlight, that's
expending a lot of energy. It really is.
Yeah, but it's also more definitive.
Oh yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right, Tex. You're absolutely right. Now, a lot of people believe in this. I do not. They believe on like unscrewing it just
Thanks,
enough.
Joe.
Thank you, Joe. They believe on unscrewing the cap of it to where, just a little touch could turn it on or off.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. If you really want to see if this thing works, there are flashlights that especially made for this that you have to actually put your fingers on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually put your fingers on, and it will come on then. Because I don't rely on something that could, just by a slight movement, a slight breeze could come on and off.
Yeah. 100%.
Even some people are saying, hey, well, we were getting responses. Were you? Or was it just
what you want to hear?
Right. Is it perfectly timed, or how long did you wait in between this, that, or the other? That's what I said. Give me something that I know that it has to interact with to get it to move. That's why I use cat balls a lot, because they're inexpensive and they actually have to move them to make them come on. They have to be moved.
Here's the one for you. I'm just going to, only because Shelley Montgomery put this out there, I just wanted to pull this one up. This is an odd one because I don't think I've ever experienced this one before.
Well, that's a good one, Shelley. The question is, anyone know what would turn your surround bar on and start beeping like Morse code?
Yeah.
Well, I got one explanation, but I don't know if that would be the right one. Of course, you got to look for the answer. You got to try to debunk it. Is it a loose wire that you may have, or is the button worn out, or check the plug? Is it in the wall correctly? Maybe it's in and out. Who knows? But check all the things first and see if that solves the problem, or you could find the problem. And then after that, I would kind of go into checking other stuff.
Now, that's what I was going to ask right there was, is it a Bluetooth or is it a wired? That's the other thing. Is it a Bluetooth / wireless, or is it wired? I mean, then you talk about, electronic bleed through, if you want to call it that. Anybody that's ever ridden down a highway back in the 70s and 80s and stuff, and you got next to a trucker who had a power amp on his CB, you got the bleed through all the time, so.
Well, it's no different than it's no different than thieves driving down the road and with it, and hitting the frequencies on the garage doors.
Exactly. 100%. See, because 1 out of 100 you might actually hit one. You know what I mean? That you got one. Hey, it just happens to be on that frequency. Now I can get into that garage and do what I want to do. But
well, I'm not going to say you can get into the garage. You may have the right garage door on the wrong day or right day, depending on who you're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wrong day or right day.
She was on the phone. TV wasn't even on, and it wasn't on, and finally hung up and started recording. And when she did that, it stopped.
I could answer Shelley's question. Ghosts.
Ghosts.
100%.
It's something. If it has a Bluetooth capabilities
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got Bluetooth capabilities, it could be anything. It could be an app on your phone trying to Bluetooth it. It could be all kinds of stuff. Like I said, you have to really, really investigate all the normal stuff that could be wrong before we would start talking about ghosts. Absolutely.
And I mentioned
that's always my first. Nope, it's ghosts.
Ghosts.
One time I was looking for like my dog treat, like my dog toy. I was like looking for it, like I couldn't find it. I turn around and it's in the middle of my in my room on the floor, like in the middle. I'm like, how? And I'm like, ghosts, 100%. Ghosts.
Why?
It's ghosts.
Well, my main concern is, why do you have a dog toy?
There's one dog toy that my dog really likes. It's like this red rope that smells kind of.
That's like not what you said. You said you
have a dog toy,
not your dog.
That's your dog. Yeah.
Your dog.
Well, I bought it. My dog just borrows it.
Oh, okay. It's yours. Your dog borrows it. Got it.
Yeah. Well,
once my dog buys his own toys, they're his.
Well, OPR
start paying rent. This is my house.
Yeah.
So
we were talking about the
y'all just remember, if Donnie gives you a Christmas present, it's a loan. Okay?
It's a loan.
Oh yeah, until I buy it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Buchanan's got another question too, real quick.
You think a person, she says, question, do you think a person's own energy can set off? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I
And
mean,
and people can, some people's energies can stop everything from happening. Tex.
Yes,
yeah,
they
just
can.
like we can set off EMF detectors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They can.
So
Sure can.
yes, be kind. I believe that 100%. Yes.
I believe that too. Like certain people can definitely like dampen or heighten it. I mean,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Don't take Jason McLean out there with you.
Right. Yeah, I'd already told Donnie Jason's not allowed to ghost hunt. Period.
Yeah. No, he can't. We will not
Yeah.
get anything at all.
Right.
If you want to, but if you want a
Do-
cleansing,
Do not bring this man on any ghost hunt.
Ever.
but if you want a cleansing, take him.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll jump all over that. And Shelly, that one you just said up there, she got one up there that says, listen to this one. My other half bought an Alexa speaker. It wasn't turned on, unplugged, and it said this. We are always learning. WTF, I threw it out the door.
Yep.
I would too. I've never heard one say that.
I'm like, yep, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have one, and I ain't gonna have one.
No, I can't have one. I mean, shoot, I have a hard time with the internet, let alone trying
Even
to
if
get
I
something like
could.
that to work. Right? I don't know.
It makes me
Guys,
go right back to the Saturday Night Live bunch. You know, it's for the
Right.
old people. Alondra, we need Ilaria, or what? You know, we call it everything under the sun. All it does is just go, and that's all we care about.
Right. Well, I don't know about this Conjuring House. I personally hope that it gets new owners. It needs I think it needs to have the attention that it deserves. I don't think the current owner is going to do right by the property. And, she may have it forever. And, everybody has lost access to it now. You know what I mean? Because she legally can't have anybody in the house. So she no longer has a license.
Yeah.
So,
she can't run the business.
right. She can't run a business. So I'm hoping that somebody takes it that, will enjoy that property as much as I did for the brief amount of time I was there.
Mhm.
I don't
Right.
think 2 days was enough. I think it needs to be more than that. But I mean, the house was beautiful. I mean, Randy, I think I sent a picture to you of, it's actually in our opening, but I sent it to Randy so he can just show you that I just stood out in the backyard in the middle of the night and took
That
this
one?
picture.
Yeah,
That
that's
one.
a cool looking picture.
Yeah. That
It
right
is.
there is one of the freakiest, honestly. And I know it's a real picture and everything. You could open up so many ghost shows with that picture alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is one of the coolest pictures I think I've ever seen as far as that kind of stuff goes. You don't see
Oh, yeah.
people picking it like that very much,
Yeah, I just took it. I was just outside. We were all outside. Actually, if you want to know what we were doing, is that the sky was super clear after the rainstorm, that the stars were beautiful, and we were looking at the constellations. We were talking to whomever bodies were in the yard. We were talking to everybody out there, because you never know what you're going to get out there. So we were just hanging outside for a little bit.
Well, yeah, no light pollution out there. Huh.
No. And so I'm like, hey, let me turn the lights on in the house. Let me take this picture. That'll be cool. So I went in and I flicked on all the lights. Now I did it by myself. I ran through the house, turned all the lights on, went upstairs, turned the lights on, and ran outside and took the picture.
Yeah. And it looks great. It really looked great.
Yeah.
It turned
But
out
I
really
mean,
good.
it's just a really neat historical place once you even look at it, because like I said, you could see the different times and the different build of the house.
Yeah.
When you're inside, you can definitely see that it was maybe this farmer helped more this year than the other farmer than last
Yeah.
year. You know what I mean? So you can see that there was almost like a different, not a style, but just different handiwork done. So I'm
Right.
just like, well, because the Amish kind of get together and help everybody build their houses, whoever needs them. You know, they're definitely a community that does that. What do they have? Those barn raising things where
Yeah.
everybody comes over and puts the barn together. Yeah, it's kind of like that with a home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I used to deal with in a home improvement right after I got out of the Army. I worked at a home improvement place, and we used to get orders for roofing materials from a guy up in Pennsylvania, an Amish gentleman. He would go to town, get on the phone, call us, order what he needed. We'd send it up there to him. And it was like he was the nicest guy you'd ever want to talk to. Never met the man though. Never got to meet him. So.
Right. But I mean, like I said, I hope that the house comes under some new ownership and that's take care, because I mean, if you can get there, do it. I wouldn't even try, even if this lady somehow gets her stuff together. I just don't recommend it. I don't recommend it until there's a new owner involved. And before the house, rots away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
if
with
she
that,
don't maintain it, it's going to do that.
yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because I mean, when you showed the house from the front, you could see that it's all gravel out front. It's not gravel out front anymore. They have asphalt in there. So,
they asphalted in front of it. Oh wow.
Yeah. So there, it's a nice way you can actually drive in, because there was too many potholes, that when people were trying to come in, and it's just, it's easier just to put something on it than just to leave it the gravel. That way you won't have to fix it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's good to go.
100%.
It's good to go. But anyway, with that being said, I think that's it. That's all we're going to talk about the Conjuring House. I mean, you can make up your mind what you think about it. There's many stories out there. I mean, don't believe Hollywood. We all know that.
Yeah. No kidding. I mean,
So
it's cool to sit down and watch with popcorn, but 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to be what you're really looking for.
yeah, Hollywood's kind of like this show. It's for entertainment purposes only.
What? You saying we're not fake? We're not real? What the? If I start
It's
fading
real to
away,
me, damn it. It's real to me.
We are not educational. We are entertainment.
I am. Speak for yourself. I'll go get my glasses on. All right.
All right, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. Bye, everybody.
Pushing the button.
Oh, push the button.
Maybe.
Button.
Pushing
Button.
it.